Hey, I'm Michael Dorinda,
And I'm Jake Bennett.
and welcome to episode 155 of the North Meet South Web podcast.
Waka waka wana. Hey, everybody. How's it going? I am back in town. Last week, when we were recording the Laravel News podcast, I was at a conference in Chicago, Chi-Town, and I got to hang out with some fun folks. TJ Miller was there, which was really cool, and Jason McCreary. That was a good time. And then Joel Claremont and Aaron Saray, which are
Nice.
two dudes from No Compromises, which was fun.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was a good time. It's good fun. A good time. Met some other Laravel devs there, and got to give the State Machines Talk version 2.
Mhm.
Not a whole lot changed. A couple little things here and there. Got to hear TJ Miller talk about his AI Sparkle and Shine stuff, and I finally understand what it is now,
That's
which
good.
was really fun. So we can talk about that a little bit on the show. But glad to be home. Good to be back. And if you're watching this live, you will know that there's a happy birthday banner behind me. And this happens quite often. In fact, it's sort of a running joke now on the show.
It
Michael,
is a running gag. It
Michael,
feels like there's always a happy birthday banner there, which is obviously not the case. But I
sure.
think there's a period through like May, June where you've got a few birthdays, like your
Mm-hmm.
birthday, your
Mm-hmm.
Harrison's birthday, and then there's
Yes.
like obviously
Yep.
one now, and then there's a
That's
few
right.
more later in the year. Yeah.
That's right. Yep. So Lyndon has her birthday right now, and then it's my birthday and then Harrison's birthday, all within a pretty short period of time. So
Mhm.
yes, it all
Yep.
kind of falls in the same area there. And so yeah, it's fun. It's kind of the birthday section of the year. And so yeah,
Mhm.
we're celebrating my daughter's 11th birthday today. So that's really cool,
Nice.
super fun. And it was a good day for her. So yep, got the birthday banner up. It's kind of cool. Like we have the same birthday banner that we've had for forever. Like I think we've
Yeah.
had this since my one kid was just tiny. And then we actually have a birthday plate too that we have that
Late.
we always eat. Yeah, it's a plate that we always
Okay.
eat. Whatever they whoever has, it's their birthday, they eat their cake off that plate. It's just a happy birthday plate. Laura made it when
Nice.
our kids were like, I think Graham was 2, and
Yeah.
so yeah, it's a fun little tradition.
Been in the
It's good
family.
times.
What kind of cake? Very important question.
So today it was a bunt cake.
Bundt cake,
There's this
right?
bunt cake. There's a place in town called Nothing Bunt Cakes.
Of course there
That's
is.
the yep, that's the name of it, and they make bunt cakes, and they're super good. And I don't know if if you've never had a bunt cake, it's sort of like a shaped cake. I don't know. It's like they have
Uh-huh.
this little mold, and they put it in there,
Yeah.
and they flip it upside down, and it pops
Looks like
out.
a jello
And
mold,
I'm
right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I think we had two different flavors. We had like vanilla, and then there was like blueberry lemon, which was really good. So
Mhm.
yeah, and then it was just fun. It's a busy
Nothing
day today
but
because
cakes.
yeah, the kids are in a play this time of year, and so they're all practicing until like late this week, like 8:30, 9 o'clock, and the show is on Friday. So yeah, we didn't get to do any dessert stuff until late today, but it was fun. It was a good day. So
Very
how about you,
cool.
my friend?
Yeah.
How was your day? What did you guys do today?
Well, the Eli's back at school this week, so he was a bit nervous about going back, which after 2 weeks off and not seeing everyone and kind of just hanging out
Sure.
and not doing.
Yep.
He was Monday night he was a bit nervous, but Tuesday it was like quarter to seven. He's like, "Can we go to school now? Can we go to school now? Is it time to go?"
Nice.
Like for an hour and a half, and we got to school when he was a bit nervous because he was waiting for his friends to turn up. We got there early because he'd been wanting to go for an hour and a half, and yeah, once his friends turned up, it was like, "See you later, dad." Like, not even "See you later, dad." Just got up and left. So
Just left.
yeah.
That's funny.
So
No warm up period needed. Just running off,
no,
playing with
as
the
soon as
boys.
soon as the friend's there, he's out. So which is like, I kind of feel bad because it's like, hey, I want to give him a hug, just send
Yeah.
him off to
Yeah.
school, but at the same time, it's
Right.
like he's gone. You don't want to embarrass him.
Exactly.
Come back and give me a hug, mate.
For
So
sure. For sure.
yeah, but he was definitely tired out by it because he got into that angry, cranky, tired
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
phase last night, like just yelling. It's like, all right, okay, we gotta let's just work through this. We can make it to bedtime, and by the time he gets to bed, he's all right. Just big sweetheart there. Reads his stories, has his cuddles, and off he goes. So yeah, it's been
That's
good.
fun times.
But yeah,
And then
they
you're
had a
also go ahead.
yeah, they had a pupil free day on Monday, so I had the day off to look after the kids Monday. Kept Liv
Nice.
home from childcare as well. We went bowling and had a bit of fun there, sort of brushing up on my bowling, getting ready for Laracon.
Did you bowl with the bumpers, Michael? Did you put the
I
bumpers
bowled
up?
with the bumpers, yeah, 100%. Yeah,
Did you?
both.
Oh,
They're
come
like,
on.
do you want the bumpers,
You're
for
like
all
for the
three of you?
kids.
And
For
I
the
was like, yeah, yeah,
kids.
yeah. I was like, no, it's fine. I I don't bowl into the bumpers. The kids, they use like the rail, the ramp that you can like
Yeah,
roll the ball down
right.
because after 5 or 6 games the ball gets a bit heavy, so they're not throwing it anymore. But it doesn't take much because when the ball slides down that ramp, it kind of wobbles, and so
Yeah,
the ball
yes.
doesn't go where you aim it anyway. But it's like it doesn't take much movement for that ball to
To
just
get
go
it into the
careening
bumper.
into the
Yeah,
bumpers. So
yes.
yeah, it got to the end, and like I had been bowling as I'd been bowling, and it got towards the end. I gained a bit of a lead on the kids, and I was like, nah, just gonna like. But you can't throw gutter bowls when the bumpers are up, so I'm just like trying to get it straight
Right.
down the
Yeah, what are you
side
supposed
to
to do?
avoid hitting the
Yeah,
pins. But I think the lane
yeah.
that we were on was a bit dodgy as well because there was like 4 or 5 times where I bowled and I like took 2 pins out, and I go to have my second bowl so I can send the ball back down the lane, and it's like you bowled a strike. I'm like, I absolutely did not bowl a strike. I took two
Oh,
pins
that's
out
funny.
tops. So yeah,
That's
we
funny.
Eli's like, who won? Who won? I'm like, Liv won this one.
Live
She
one,
she was
buddy.
ahead of.
Yep.
Don't worry about Dad's score. Dad's just here for, and it got to
Just for
like the
practice.
seventh frame, and I was like, yeah, you kids can just throw the ball down the lane an extra couple of goes because they're like, we want to go because there's the arcade, so they got to go play the arcade as well. So
Oh yeah, absolutely. Bowling alleys all have to have arcades.
yeah, yeah, we've got like
It's a
the
thing.
tap and go, like the recharge card to go into, and it's just like
Oh
that money
yes.
disappears so quickly
Oh
because
my
it's
word.
like
It's
two
so
fifty for a
fast.
game, and the games don't last very long with a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old. So
Whatever happened to the quarter game days, right? I mean, that was it. That was the golden era of video games. I was
who
thinking
is
back. Do
making
you
the money?
remember?
Because the alleys are not making the money on these things. It has to go back to
Right,
the like whoever owns
right.
the machines.
Yeah, and typically, like on the machine where you give the money, where you put the money in, there will be like a if you need any help, call this number
Yeah,
or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah. Definitely don't call the venue.
Yeah. Pro tip: I actually we were in Florida. There was a little arcade like that at the hotel we were staying at, and it
Hmm.
was my son's birthday, and so I called them on the thing, and I was like, "Hey, do you guys do anything for birthdays?" They're like, "Like what?" I was like, "Do you guys give away like free tokens or anything for birthdays?" And they're like, "Well, we don't usually." I was like, "Well, I've got a kid turning like 5." I was like, "Do you guys like want to like give any free games or anything?" The guy's like, "You already have a card?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "What's the number?" I read it to him and he's like, "All right, happy birthday." I was like, went to the machine, he put $50 on there.
That's pretty good.
$50. I was like, "No way." And so Harrison had a heyday. It was crazy. He was playing every game, didn't look at any of the number, how many tokens, just played
Yeah,
every game. It was awesome.
it's pretty good. Yeah,
Yeah,
which is
just
nice. Like
sometimes
all
you
you
just
have to
gotta
do is
ask.
ask. Like people, yeah, you just got to
Exactly.
ask. We've seen this around the
Exactly.
community for ages.
Yeah.
This is what this other spin-off podcast of mine is. It's all about putting yourself out there. Just ask the questions.
Yep.
The worst they can say is no, but
Yeah,
hey, they might
exactly.
say
I was even
yes. They
listening.
might give you
Yep,
$50 worth of tokens.
totally. I was listening to James Brooks' Happy Dev season
Uh
2,
huh.
which I love that podcast. It's really fun. And he said that that's how he got the job working for
Yeah.
Laravel. Taylor posted the Forge job, and he said,
Just
"Sounds
texted
great.
him.
I'll
I'm like,
take
I'll have
it."
that. Yeah. Yeah.
I'll take the
Sure.
job.
No
He's like, "All
worries.
right, it sounds good." So funny. But yeah, he said that same thing. He's like, if you don't ask, you don't get. Like, it's like, just ask. And so
Yeah.
sometimes, yeah, the worst they can say is no. Worst they could
Yep.
say is no. I was going to say, do you remember? I mean, I don't know how long ago it was when you were bowling when you were a kid, but I remember when we would get bumpers, they would have this big blue inflatable like thing that they'd put in the bumper or put in the gutter, and they'd blow it
Mm.
up and it would like
You're right.
roll all the way down the lane. That was like the earliest bumper things that they had. It
Nah.
wasn't like a rail that came up on the sides
Yeah.
to like bump off of. It was
No, I
literally
don't
like an
remember.
inflated. Isn't that crazy? But
Yeah,
I
I
remember that
think
being the
probably the
case.
first time I ever went bowling would have been like 10 or 11, and it was
Okay.
definitely like the rail that came out. It was not no inflatable snake
Yeah,
or
and
anything like that.
it was like an air mattress, you know what I mean? But
Mm.
it was long, it was like a long
Yeah,
blue inflatable tube that would
makes
go down
sense.
the gutter. It was hilarious. And so it just kind of like lazily bounce off this thing,
Mhm.
it was ridiculous. So
That you don't wanna
early
hit that either.
memories
That'll
of
impact
bowling.
the velocity of the ball as
Yes.
well,
Yes, it did. It would.
absorb
And
some of its motion.
yep, you didn't care because I was 4, 5, at the time, but good times. Hey, anyway, I was gonna say also you've got some Laracon stuff that you're prepping for as well, cooking up over on the Laracon
Mhm.
AU kitchen. What you got going on over on that side?
Yeah, so we put a teaser out last week, I think, of some of the branding that we're doing. So
Which
we're
looks so
not
good.
we're not doing the brown and yellow. The Cash Money has seen some bits and pieces of
Hmm.
the direction we're taking it. The website is done now. I was wiring it all up to all of our like ConvertKit and just redoing the because we redesigned it, so I had to rewire up all of the speaker submission and the sponsorship stuff last night, and just going through all the content and things like that, just to make sure that there's no typos and we're covering everything off. So the website is done. We'll be just going through bits and pieces now, but we're just putting the finishing touches on what the marketing plan is for that. So we will after we finish recording this, I've got some bits and pieces that I need to film, and we'll be doing like a little announcement later today for
That'd be awesome.
Laravel.eu for more
Yeah.
details. So by the time this episode is out, you will have already seen it probably. Yeah, so we've got 2 weeks
Do you
left.
feel ahead of schedule from where you usually are? Like, do you feel good? I know you started like prepping for 2024, like as soon as 2023 was done. So it feels
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you guys are
we
killing it.
everything in terms of like the behind the scenes stuff is ready. The venues
Yeah.
organized, the hotels organized. We've got like the hotel for speakers is all organized. We've organized all of the venues for networking and after dark and all that kind of stuff. Like all of that is locked away now. So really, the only thing left now is obviously to select the speakers and to launch the website and put tickets on sale, which I feel like we're a little bit behind on, only because like as we were kind of planning when I say we, like myself and Nucleus, the agency that's doing all of the branding for us, we kind of got to a point where we found that like it's there's too much information that we need to publish this year to make it a one pager, to communicate everything that we want to communicate. So it took a little bit longer to
Sure.
kind of figure out what those extra pages look like and put all of that information together. So we're in a good spot. We're a little bit behind where we had planned to be at the start of the year in terms of scheduling, but I think we'll be okay. I think we're about a week behind at the moment, which is not too bad, not the
Not
end of the
bad.
world.
Not bad. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
You got
we'll.
time to catch up.
I've got the marketing bit to do today, just as like a little get ready, keep your eyes peeled kind of video, and then we will have like a proper announcement video and the website launch and all of the email stuff going out
Will you
in a
show all
little
the
while.
branding like when you do that big launch thing? Sweet.
Yep,
Okay,
yeah. So
cool.
this will be all the full branding that we've been
Nice.
working on in secret for the last
I'm
two and a bit, 3 months.
I'm secretly hoping you guys open up a Laracon AU store just for a
Yeah,
bit for if in case I'm not able to make it, which I'm not going to be able to, but it would be amazing if I could buy a t-shirt. I know it's going to be expensive for shipping, but I'll pay it. I'll pay it.
yeah,
I've seen enough of the branding to know I want a shirt. And
yeah.
so very
We've
cool. Very cool stuff.
we entertained the idea last year, and we kind of landed on it's a you've got to be in the room where it happened kind of situation where like
Sure.
we can sell
It's
it, but it kind of
exclusive.
diminishes
Yeah. It
the
does.
the value of it. But I'll look after you. That's okay.
It's the exclusivity thing, right? Like the
Yeah,
supply and demand. Yeah, that sort of deal. I get that. I get
yeah,
that totally. But anyway, yeah, really excited for like the branding stuff. I know that like I said, the stuff that I've seen is just incredible. It's hard to get that stuff right. You know what I mean? There's
yeah.
so many different directions you could go, and it's like
Hmm.
you really have to. And sometimes it comes down to like making a brave choice. It's like, do I do just like the standard fare, like this looks very conferency, or do I do something a
Yeah,
little bit more edgy, but a sort of like little bit more of a risk? And so man,
yeah,
I'm really excited. I think it's turning out super cool. So excited for everybody else
yeah.
to be able to see it in the next couple weeks here too.
It will be interesting. Like I think where we have landed, it's going to be great. Initially, we kind of I didn't know quite what it was with this idea, and so we initially knocked it back. But Nucleus came back and was like, "We've got we've got some ideas." So they went back and did a second round of refinement, and we're like, "Here is how we're going to kind of explore and expand the brand." And the way that we're looking at it is to have like the Laracon Australia brand as something that kind of fits in with Laracon EU and Laracon US to kind of make that recognizable as a Laracon. And then we will then have our own identity, which will be the kind of thing that we want to live on, and we'll grow it year to year. So we don't have to do a full scale branding exercise every 12 months, which is
Yeah.
a lot of work. So
I think
yeah,
that's a great idea, honestly.
we were very full color last year in terms of like everything was we used all the colors of the
Yep.
rainbow
Really
you can
colorful.
see,
Yep.
back here.
Yep.
This year we've toned it down a little bit, but I think it's still going to be pretty snazzy. So we've got some great ideas to work on and expand on. Not only this year but in the years to come as well. So see how that goes.
Yeah.
Taylor initially didn't like this idea either, but I said no, we're gonna
Ooh.
we're gonna go ahead with it anyway. So
Yep. Yep. I mean, like you said, like sometimes you just gotta kind of put it out there and see what
mhm.
happens. And so it'll be good. I'm really excited for it. I think it looks great. So it's fun.
Sweet.
I was going to say we're probably about halfway through here, so I thought I would
Mm.
let you know kind of what I've been working on recently. We hired a brand new junior
Junior,
developer.
straight out of boot camp.
Yes, straight out of not even boot camp, straight out of college, which is
You're right.
even harder because you come out knowing C# or something, and that's
Yeah.
it. So,
Yeah.
but he's a quick learner, and so I was listening to Daniel D. Cole and Caleb talk about stuff, and Daniel was just talking about like nobody's hiring juniors unless you're me, in which case I just taught all my friends to program and now that's what they do full time. And he's like, they're little mini Daniel Colborns because I taught them and they just do exactly what I do. And then like
Mhm.
this kind of sounds appealing, like
Yeah.
what would that be like? And the cool thing too, and I think maybe it was Ben Orenstein talked about this too. It was like the idea of just being able to have like a group of people locally that you can work with. I mean, that's pretty
Mhm.
rare. Like, I feel like anymore that you have a group of developers locally,
Yeah.
especially if you don't live in like a big city, which I don't. I live in a moderately sized city. It's not tiny, but it's not huge. It's not like a
Mhm.
metropolis. It's not a
Yeah.
Chicago or a Adelaide or something like that. It's not that large. So what I did is I hired this guy and I'm like, this guy's local, which was the biggest requirement I was looking for. And
Mhm.
then I'm just teaching him from like the ground up. And the other thing I really wanted to be sure of is that this was something that got him really excited.
Mhm.
So it was like when I, talk about some of these problems that you're going to be solving, like do his eyes light up? Does that sound like something that you would want to do for like the next 5 years? It's like, oh dude, yeah, that's super exciting. So I had another guy that interviewed and he was like, I mean, right now I'm just kind of looking for my next step in my career. I'm like, yeah, you're not the guy. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, no,
You ain't
I
it.
want somebody
Yeah.
who wants to do this, who
Mhm.
loves this stuff. And so he's that guy. So it's been so interesting to kind of go through it and remember all the things that you forgot you learned. And it makes it so evident again that there are so many people out there who need great teachers and great education. When it's like I'm struggling to come up with an idea for a talk, it's like, holy cow, any of these things that I'm teaching him right now could be a full
Mm.
session.
Yeah.
But so many times you literally forget. I'm talking about like like
Yeah.
Git. Like how to
And
use Git
like
effectively.
critically, you having to go back and learn how to teach it puts you in the best
Yes.
position to teach it because
Right.
you are right in the weeds and you need to find for someone else,
Hmm.
how do I make this approachable?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and I'm so thankful once again for Laracasts because Jeffrey
mhm,
Way has so much good content on there. The one that I'm pushing my new developer through right now is PHP for beginners, and he goes through everything from start, like literally from like you know bracket question mark PHP. What I mean? Like, what
mhm,
is a PHP tag? How do you define a variable?
mhm,
What's an array? Like all this stuff. And Jeffrey just does such a great job of teaching it. But the other thing that I really like about it too is that he gives them a project to work on as he goes through it. Not a Laravel project, just a PHP project. Like straight up, how do we
yeah,
do a form? How do form requests work? What is a CSRF token? All that.
mhm,
And what Landon was telling me, my new developer, what he's telling me is that he'll do it. He'll show you sort of like the long way, and then he'll say like, "Okay, now how can we make this better?" And then he'll show you the easier way to do it. And then eventually, I know what's going to happen. At the end, he's going to be like, "Now all that stuff we learned, here's how Laravel makes that incredibly simple." But the great part about it is he's laying all that foundation. Here's all the stuff that you have to know. He's not just skipping that and going straight to
mhm,
the Laravel stuff. It's like by the time you get to the Laravel stuff, you understand that this is a shortcut to what you originally learned how to do. And so, man alive, if I had to teach all that myself, just bare bones, just had to go straight from nothing to that, oh man, it would be a slog for sure. But man, Jeffrey Way is such a good teacher. So good stuff. It's been really cool to kind of go through it and see the questions he has to ask, and some of the things he's learning. I'm like, oh yeah, I totally forgot about that. So it's been pretty cool.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, it's
Yep.
yeah, teaching is one of those things that you're either good at or you're not. Like I don't think there's a gray area for teaching. You can either and I mean, I suppose Jeffrey has the benefit of doing it all the time. And so it's
Hmm.
fresh to
Yeah.
him, and so he knows, what actually resonates. But I spoke with Greg about this the other week, and it's like Eli learning to read now. I don't know how to teach him to read.
Yes.
And, because
Correct.
I don't remember 30 years ago when I was learning to read what the approach was. And I'm sure 30
Yeah.
years ago it was very different to what it is now. Like he comes home from school with his books of like three-letter words, and there's sight words like and the and he and whatever else, like the letters you just
And
recognize them as,
yeah.
yeah, all of these things that you recognize, and the letters don't and the sounds don't form the word. But then,
Hmm.
he's doing other things where he's like looking at Sam and he's going Sam.
Hmm.
Like, and he kind of phonetically puts these things together, which is like I wouldn't have known, this is how we do it. So and then that, starting with these simple three-letter words, and then they work to four-letter words, and then, before you know it, they're reading. So but, yeah, this was like last night he got to page 1 of the book that he picked out to bring home, and it was like, "Nah, not doing it." Like, he just didn't wanna, because he was tired, or we left it a bit late, close to bed, and he just didn't wanna play the game. But, yeah, and it's, like, frustrating for me because it's like, well, I'm trying to follow what you're doing, and
Hmm.
you're getting frustrated because you're tired. He knows it. Like, he knows the sounds and the letters and all of that kind of stuff, but he tries to, like, we have to cover the picture so that he doesn't try and guess, because when he tries to
Yeah.
guess, he's kind
Yes.
of like guessing what's happening rather
Yes.
than reading, and it's not always correct. So, yeah, it's a bit of an exercise in, how how much patience do you have some nights? Like, most of the time he just blows through it. Like, he's got it all figured out, and then every now and then it's just it's a challenge. So
I know
I
exactly
have
what you
I
mean,
have
though.
tremendous level of respect for, for Jeffrey, but like any teacher that has the
Yeah.
ability to, to make, and like, especially with kids, but like adults as well, they all learn in different ways, and different things resonate and click with different people, which is why we say, teach the thing that you're learning, teach the thing that you're
Yeah.
excited about as you're learning it, as you're excited about it, because the way that it like makes sense for you may be the approach that someone else will understand, and it will help them to learn it. So it's definitely not a thing for everyone, but those of you that are good at it, I have tremendous respect for you.
Yeah. The couple things there. Like number one, it's so magical when your kids learn to read. You know what I mean? It's so cool. Even just a couple letter words, like even the fact that he can
Yeah.
read Sam. I remember just being like,
Yeah.
"Oh, well, that is so cool
Yeah, he came
that
home
my
one day. I
kid
was like,
can read."
"Yeah, excuse me."
Yeah, it's just the wildest thing. And then you'll be driving around somewhere, and they'll like you'll hear them in the backseat like sounding out something,
Yeah, he does
and
it
you're
all the
like, "Oh my
time, and you
gosh,
just you
they
can't
know
help
how
but
to read." It's
smile. Yeah,
so cool. It's just
like
so cool. And it sounds so
there's
basic, but it's like it's amazing.
there's a game that, like, it's a web app. I don't know if it's something that you guys have over there. It's called Reading Eggs, and he's like,
Mm-mm,
"Dad, can I
nope.
play Reading Eggs?" I'm like, "Sure." You get the
Oh, I gotta
iPad,
check this out.
and you just like, they've got a login through school. I don't know what the model is for like the public to use it, but you go in there and it helps sound it out, and it's all web based, so you can use it anywhere basically. And yeah, he would just like, sometimes he wants to just sit down and do reading eggs by himself, unprompted, whenever he's ready for it. So
That's super cool.
it's like,
Yeah,
not
and
just that he's doing it, but also that he's enthusiastic enough about it to want to do it, by himself whenever.
yeah, I mean, um, and the thing too is like, what do they say? Like leaders are readers, right? I mean, it's like a
Mhm,
little kitschy saying, but truly, I mean, so my one daughter she could read, but she just wasn't great at it.
mhm.
And I'm with you. Like I could not figure out how to teach her how to do it. I couldn't. I can't go back that far. I don't remember how the techniques and whatever. So we got her a reading teacher, and reading is so connected to like their confidence, like how much confidence they have, and
Hmm.
and then also just that if you can read, you can learn anything, you know and so having good reading skills and being able to like comprehend what you're reading is so critically important just for life. So it's super cool that he like enjoys it and is like
Yeah.
really finding it fun to learn that stuff. That's really cool. So um but yeah, like another thing that's like that is math. I used to teach math, right? But
Hmm.
it was like high school level math. So I don't
Yeah.
know. I can't teach kids how to
Yeah. All
like
the
add and
fundamentals
stuff.
are
I don't.
taught.
I
Yeah.
don't. Yeah, no, I can't do that. I don't know how to do that anymore. But it is similar
Is it?
like that, like with PHP and stuff too. It's like sometimes you're like, dude, I don't like get like okay.
Hmm.
I mean, I just know my aliases now.
Yeah.
You know?
That's
It's
right.
like I have some tips maybe for like how to create a pull request using GitHub command line. But
Hmm.
even it was funny too, like you take for granted also like all the setup you've got with your dot files after years and years and years of using them. And it's like they don't have it, they don't even know what dot files are. And so it's like you're starting from absolute scratch. And they're like, how do I like what is Xcode command line tools or something? It's like, oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I totally forgot you had to do that. Like,
Yeah.
before you can install Brew, you got to install Xcode command line tools. It's just like,
Hmm.
oh, geez, haven't been in that world for a long time. It only happens once every time you get a new computer, and you've done it 5 times, so it's pretty
Yeah.
quick. But when you
Yeah.
got somebody who doesn't even know anything,
Hmm.
it takes a little bit of time. So anyway, he's getting up to speed. And the other thing I was going to say too is this idea of like, so like when somebody's learning a new language, like a foreign language, for example, they say one of the best ways to do that is to just go immerse yourself
Immerse
in
yourself.
that
Yeah.
language, in that culture. Like just it's sort of like learning to swim by jumping in the deep end, sort of thing.
Hmm.
So like sort of somebody's trying to learn Spanish, whatever. You just go eat with a family that speaks only Spanish or something like that. You might not understand 90% of what they're saying, but you're going to pick up little bits and pieces, and the more you
Yeah.
do that, the more you immerse yourself in that, the more you're going to pick up just by context. And so
Yeah.
I've been trying to do that as well. Anytime I'm pairing on code, I'll pull him out of that thing that that series that he's going through, and just be like, hey, you're just going to sit with us while we talk about this code, and you're not going to know what 90% of it is, but that's fine. You're going to pick up some things. You're going to see some things that you'll recognize from what you're working on. And you're like, oh, okay, I know kind of what's going on there. But it's just that idea of like throw him right into the deep end. And I'm not asking him to contribute any code, but just watch and learn and
Yeah.
listen to the discussion and like the trade-offs that we're having to make while we're talking about this code. And what's that comment you just did in a pull request? What's that? I don't know you could do that. You know what I mean? Or
Hmm.
what keyboard shortcut are
Yeah.
you using to pull that up? What's that
Yeah.
refactor thing that's in PHP Storm? Those sorts of things. And so I think that's really helpful too. Just kind of getting them in um, as early as you can to just seeing production code and how the
Hmm.
workflows work and how pairing works and all that stuff. So that's been interesting. I don't know if like what part of your job is to do onboarding for developers, or if you guys pretty much only hire seniors, or like what that looks like for you. But have you had any experiences like this?
No, not directly. I mean, all of the developers that we have, or sorry, the majority of the developers that we have are senior, and then we've got a couple of mid-level ones that they kind of pick it up. So, but they're
Hmm.
they're pairing and they're like reviewing and work. We're all working with each other all the time. So, and it's nice having a team where I mean, they mostly all work in the office, but sometimes you're trying to go back and forth on something, and it's like let's just have a huddle, because the
Yeah.
huddle you can
Yep.
talk through it. You don't you can see what, and like we mentioned Ben Orenstein before, same kind of thing. He knows he started a company for pair programming. It's just so much easier to sit next to someone, either virtually or in person, and just go through what you need to go through, because you can
Yeah.
see what they're saying. You can ask questions about what they're thinking. Text back and forth. It's just there's too much of a blocker. Like, it's okay for some things, but just to be able to sit down and have like a 5 minute huddle or a pairing session and just figure something out. It's just much more useful. And even if, like, you don't have to know the person, as long as you're not sharing company secrets or breaching NDAs or anything like that, it's easy to sit down with someone in isolation and talk through problems like that. So, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Learning a language to immerse yourself, exposure to like conversational language is very different to like
Yeah.
Duolingo. If you go and do Duolingo, it's much different to learn those things in the context of like learning the words than it is to
Yeah.
go and actually speak the language. Because what you will find is, I was trying to, as an adult, relearn to speak Polish, and Duolingo will teach you, the gendered the gendered wording and conjugating verbs and all of that kind of stuff. But you go and speak to a Polish person, and they are talking 100 miles an hour. Number one, like they're always talking in their native speed because they've been speaking the language for decades.
Right.
And
Sure.
number two, conversational Polish is often very different to the what you're learning. Um, Yeah, I had a guy that I used to work with was trying to learn Polish, and he just like set his computer to Polish and was playing on hard mode, like
Ah,
learning
boy.
things that
Dang.
way.
Yeah.
So he'd reply to emails, and everything would be like, where it would say, um, all of the like the previous reply stuff, it would all be in Polish, all the dates, all of the
Oh,
such
my
and such
word.
said, and whatever else. So you get this back every now and then, and like he wasn't customer facing, so it's not like people outside of the
Sure.
business ever saw it, but it was still funny to see it and be like, okay.
Yeah, it's sort of like uninstalling your code editor, your IDE, and just going hardcore mode on Vim.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
will figure it out. If I don't know, I
Yeah.
will Google it and I will figure out
Stick with it
that
for a
how I
week
do
and you'll
that.
know it forever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And it's or keyboards, what I mean? Same thing. It's like, hey, if you're gonna switch keyboards, like stick with it for a couple
Yeah.
weeks at least,
Yeah.
because if you don't, if you try and switch back and forth, you're not gonna get it. So
That's right.
anyway. Well, dude, that's all I got for today. And if you
That's
got
good.
anything else, happy to chat through it. Otherwise, we can wrap this one up.
No, I gotta go and record some embarrassing videos for this
You
Laracon
got this, man. I
announcement.
believe in you.
And we'll see how that lands when it gets posted. But yeah, I mean, it won't just be me. Fortunately, we're gonna have some branding artwork over the top of it, which will make it look better and hopefully distract from my own stupidity.
You're
But
gonna crush it.
we're gonna have
You're gonna
fun. We're
crush
gonna
it,
have fun
man.
with it.
No doubt. Absolutely. Folks, thanks for tuning in. You can find the show notes for this episode at northmeetsouth.audio/155. Hit us up on Twitter at Jacob Bennett, at Michael Dorinda, or at North South Audio. If you like this, rate it up in your podcatcher of choice. 5 stars would be incredible. And until next time, folks, we'll see you later. Bye bye.
Bye, everyone.